Just moments ago, House and Senate Republicans wrapped up a brainstorming session with entrepreneurs Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy, who have been tapped to lead the incoming Trump administration's new department on government efficiency. While today's meeting excluded Democrats, bipartisan discussions are planned, as even some on the left, believe it or not, expressed interest in this new initiative. So what exactly was discussed today? Join me now by phone, Congressman Pete Sessions of Texas, who is co-chair of the newly formed House DOJ caucus. Congressman Sessions, welcome back to Washington Watch.
Thank you very much. The conversation today evolved itself around two meetings with both of these young men who have associated themselves with the efficiency of government. They both come to the table very interestingly in a very similar fashion, and that is while they have been highly successful, one of them being probably the richest man in the world, they are concerned about our country. They see where the mismanagement of financial data, of the size of government, of the inefficiency, is a threat, an immediate threat to the greatest nation in the world, and that they want to come and add their, not just ideas, but their hard work and their good name to this effort. And so they have set, which I did not know until today, an arbitrary figure of some 18 months from now for 4th of July 2026, that they want to make significant progress and believe that it will be on track for them to announce success. And so that we were gathering together, House members, Senate members, Republicans, and might I add that the DOJ caucus in the House now has 3 Democrats who have joined with us, who see that government efficiency must be a priority for Congress.
Well, Congressman Sessions, the Congress clearly plays a role in this, because in the previous Trump administration, a budget was actually introduced by the president that called for cuts, but Congress dismissed that because Congress is the one that controls the purse string. So while this agency can look at areas to cut, it's ultimately the Congress that funds government.
Well, that's true, but we're talking about efficiencies here. We're talking about we may come to an agreement to appropriate billions or trillions of dollars, but it goes into a bureaucracy that is wholly incapable of effective delivery to the United States, to the American people. An example of that is, and it's not even disputed, we just don't know the actual figures. The largest government building in Washington, D.C. is the Ronald Reagan building. And yet, in testimony before the subcommittee of which I'm the chairman of, the discussions were up to 60% of the employees in that building, not military and not law enforcement, went less than 1 day a week. If
Right.
you cannot come to work, if you cannot work with people who need, I mean, these government jobs are not solo practices. They are working with people, looking at databases, working at problems, working across agencies, and that's an example of the need that we have to make sure that things work. In the congressional district I represent, Texas 17th District, 4 years ago, we received money from FEMA that would be about combating wildfires with a fire station, so to speak, that would be put up way out in the central Texas, that would be there to fight wherever the wildfire was in central Texas. And it was some $478,000. We have yet to even pitch an inch of dirt at this. And so it's 3 years later, nothing has happened, and prices have risen 40%. So the inefficiency of government, the rules and regulations, the way that they are placed in a way, we're going to maybe rearrange that stack. We're going to look at every single part of government and make it efficient.
This is going to prompt some soul searching, I would think, Congressman Sessions, because this goes back to what is the purpose of government. Because if you look at a lot of these programs, and I'm not going to pick on any particular party, but it's not necessarily been about delivering services, but it's about creating jobs. And that's not the role of government. But that has been the role of many of these programs.
Well, I don't think that there's any question in my mind that some of the conversation exactly that you're having could be true. But the vast number of jobs that are created or that are in the government are jobs that are supposed to be there to fulfill a need of people. And what happens is that there are those that come and tinker with that, like the President of the United States, who organized and to have a negotiated settlement of a union bargain with Social Security that their 45,000 employees could stay at home under those programs rather than going to work.
Right.
And I will tell you that if they are light years behind, which I believe they are, and inefficient, the American people are going to see this solely for what it is. We've had problems. You'll recall just a few years ago, the passport office.
Right.
We have problems with the IRS. So we'll get in under this. But if the American people think that what we're doing is worthy, then it will succeed. If they think what we're doing is anything other than that, we'll be in trouble.
So, Congressman Sessions, let's talk about how the Doge caucus will operate. What are the first steps you're going to take to get this ball rolling?
Well, the first steps that we were going to take, we already have. We have put an invitation out. The three leaders of the caucus are going to make sure that Aaron Bean and I began this, and then we've now added in Congressman from Utah, Blake Moore. And Blake is going to be in with us because we felt like he would add a particular voice as a new young member. But we believe that what's happened is we have made it available to members. 60-some members, Republicans, 3 Democrats have agreed to join us. This is now a, quote, bipartisan effort. 4 now as of today. Somebody else stepped up. We want to begin talking about all the ideas, not just 1 or 2 or 5. And we all have ideas about the government efficiency. As the chairman of the Government Reform and Oversight Subcommittee on Federal Workforce, Government Operations and Federal Workforce, I've been doing many of these hearings, and this government's wholly inefficient, which is what left it ripe for exactly what we're doing. We will then move to next, and remember, we've only got 2 weeks left before we reorganize. But what we will do is begin formulating things where people can come and provide feedback. We have we have an email address, doge@mail.house.gov. We want people to send us their information, their ideas. We want industry involved. We want commerce involved. And we're going to take these, what will be thousands of ideas, work through them with our members that will be busy, and then present plans every few weeks to where we keep up with people who are regular Americans who want to see us succeed.
Congressman, we just have about a minute left, and I know you've got to get on the floor to vote, but Vivek Ramaswamy mentioned low-hanging fruit for reducing government waste. How much are we talking about there?
Well, the low-hanging fruit is where he believes, and I do too, that there are functions that the government performs that it should not be the sole provider or should not be doing it. Obviously, there are conversation about a lot of things. We have 158 different jobs programs that are duplicative efforts. So we're going to look at the duplicative effort. We're going to look at things that are not following the mandate of what their department was about, and that is an easy picking. So we will quickly float these up. We will decide how we're going to do it. If I'm going to suggest to you what we ought to do with somebody, I better have an answer about how I'm going to do it, and if it's a necessary part that needs to be covered, where would it move? It's easy for us to say, oh, well, we'll move it back to states. But that then requires we go through the appropriations process and get that done.
Well, it's much needed, and we look forward to watching and reporting on the process.